Heyo, what's going on, Troopers? Jacko here, bringing you another 10 tips video. You know how much I love them. This one's going to be for advanced building tips. It's not really going to be about building a full entire base or anything. It's going to be more or less just 10 individual tips that you can use in order to strengthen your defenses. I watched a video recently by Oilspawn who he built an entire base basically, and it was like the ideal setup, perfectly symmetrical, great defenses and everything. And I'll stand behind that video, so I'm gonna go ahead and link it in the description below if you want to watch that video. It also sparked one or two ideas I had for this video, and I spent essentially a lot of time in the boot camp trying to figure out different ways to build strong defenses, and I stumbled across a ton of exploits. So yeah, we're gonna get into all of them. Don't worry. First of all, you can build these small walls on top of these regular walls, and I've never seen people really do this. You can use them as cover, you can use them as parkour to get up to other towers. I'm sure people will find really cool uses, but just like the bunkers, you can place these on top of walls as well. Anyways, this whole thing that you've been looking at is going to serve as a proof of concept for what this video is going to teach you. Let's pretend real quick that I'm a bug trying to break through this big large gate. Okay, so I'm going to walk up and start attacking that, get through that pretty quickly, attack the large gate, finally get through that, and then you're going to notice something weird start to happen where these layers of defenses are stacked up one on top of another, and I'm finally through. So yeah, stick around to these 10 tips to figure out how I did that. Alright, so on with tip number one. It's going to be revolving around these ramp walls, and honestly half of these exploits are going to be dealing with this piece specifically. We're in early access build 0.2.0.133. You can see that number on the bottom right. It'll probably be patched soon, but I'm just going to use it and abuse it while I can. If you don't care to exploit games, then I don't blame you. This is probably not the video for you though. If you just want to build cool bases in a PvE game and you don't really give a damn, then this video is going to be perfect because it's going to teach you a lot. You can essentially just take any type of wall and stack it with ramp walls, because ramp walls, as long as you place them second, they don't have any collision. So you can now build two walls in one wall slot. So now bugs have to go through two walls. It also makes your platform up here a bit bigger. If you want to take this a step further, you can also use ramp walls back to back like this. They're going to be powerful on exterior bases, giving you a way in and out of your base. Alright, tip number two is going to be talking about awkward build zones and how to build inside of them. Ideally, in every single base you put down, you have like a symmetrical amount of tiles where like one wall covers everything and you have like no gaps anywhere. But sometimes you run into a situation where you imagine this is your build area here. You only have 1.5 amount of tiles. You don't have a full 2, you don't have 1, and you're left with kind of a bad situation where you can't put two walls side by side. You can't put a large gate here, that won't fit either. You can't put two small gates side by side, so you're left with something weird. A lot of people just default to using bunkers, and then they have a weird gap here where they're trying to fill it in with like short walls, here or whatever, or maybe they put them sideways, and it's really annoying to have that gap. Well, I found the fix for it. It's basically just using tip number one. You're going to stagger the walls this time, like so. And essentially using the non-collision of the ramp wall, you're able to fit two walls into a 1.5 wall slot. That way you don't have any awkward gaps. Alright, tip number three, let's talk about electric fences. This one is near and dear to me because this is the first exploit I'd ever stumbled upon in the game. It was maybe a few days after early access release. I was seeing a slight meta start to form where people were placing the electric fences around the arc. And I was trying to figure out what a good second layer would be here in the boot camp and just messing around with things when I noticed that the wall was turning green in weird spots like that. And then essentially just found the exploit, took it into game, realized that the electric fence still functions as an electric fence, even though it's covered up and being protected by the ramp wall here. So yeah, it was really cool. And then I started using it in all of my games, even when other people were building and people caught on pretty quickly, or maybe other people also discovered this at the same time as me. But it became like meta pretty quickly. When I first initially started uploading videos for this game, I included this as tip number 10. in that video. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that the whole exploit has to do with the collision on the ramps. I thought it was the collision on the electric fences that was messed up. So if I had realized that sooner, this video probably would have come out sooner, because I would have done more exploits about half walls. I just thought, thought wrong, I guess. But it should be interesting to see if these half wall exploits become as meta as quickly as this one did, because this exploit became very popular very fast. So it should be interesting to see. All right, tip number 4, and I'm not the founder of this exploit. I actually saw this one in Oilspawn's video. I thought it was really interesting, so I wanted to include it in my own. It essentially is just the layering of the no collision ramp wall with a large gate. It maintains the functionality of a gate while also giving you a platform up here to stand on top of and a nice way up to it. On one side, it's a perfect gate because the drones, I'm not sure if the drones can follow you, but the warriors and bigger bugs definitely can't follow you through here. Which is nice. The notch is above you on this side, so it allows you to go straight through. This side is a little bit more difficult because the notch is below, so you kind of have to jump above it if you want to get through on that side. Still not a big deal, but obviously it gives you a lot more protection as well, because now the bugs have to go through 2 layers of wall instead of just 1. So big shout out to Oilspawn. I've linked his video down below. Not sure if he's the original founder of this one, but it's in his video nonetheless. So yeah, go swing by and watch that one. All right, so tip 5, let's get away from talking about ramp walls and let's talk about short walls for a sec. I noticed that these short walls were acting weird because you could put things on top of them, but I wasn't sure what exactly was happening to them. I thought they were being upgraded into a wall somehow, or destroyed or replaced. But come to find out, if a bug destroys this outer wall, it actually leaves these walls behind for another layer of defense. So now you have an interesting situation where you can actually triple layer defenses. Maybe say this is around an arc. You've got even more defenses now because the bugs have to break through this ramp wall, then they have to go through this before they can start hitting this. Maybe they accidentally hit this one, and now you've got a really fortified fence. So you put that all the way around your arc, it's going to cost you 2,400 or instead of 1,600 for the double layer, and it might be way more effective. So try it out, let me know how it goes, and comment below. Alright, so we're on tip 6. This one is also going to be from Oilspawn's video. It's about kill boxes and how to make tight corners. You can make a very simple 1x1 kill box by just pointing 4 regular walls inward. There's no tricks there. It's pretty easy to do. You can make a even better kill box by basically utilizing some of the other skills that you've learned in this video to create a tight corner kill box with these ramps going in and with a tail. Although if you do want to build one next to a large gate, you have to place the large gate first, and I'm going to show you how to build one of these kill boxes. You're going to place the large gate, and then you're going to be putting the ramp walls here. If you try to put the ramp walls first, it's not going to work because it'll let you put those 2, but then it won't let you put the walls on the side, as you can see. So make sure you put your side walls on first, using regular walls, like so, and then you're going to put the ramp wall against the gate, and then an interior and an exterior ramp at the tail end. And you can see what you're left with is a really reinforced gate with a tail ramp so that people can get up to it easily. You can put an MG in here if you want, right at the front. And yeah, it's just going to be a pretty fortified position to hold a front gate that's going to expect a lot of bugs. Alright, so we're on tip 7 now. We're going to be talking about enfilades. I know I talk about this and bunkers pretty much in every single one of my videos, but it's very important, and I don't see enough people utilizing this. People, for some reason, are still stacking these really terrible, crappy walls, 6 walls deep, to make up for them being bad, instead of just using a bunker in combination with walls. Ideally, you just have bunkers and you don't have walls, but if you need to use walls because there's too much space, you don't have enough bunkers, then use them like this. It's called an enfilade, where you basically are able to shoot down the line. So if this is your front wall here, you're able to just shoot down the line. Your bullets will pass through whatever target you kill and go to the next one. Same thing on this side, and then basically you can also repair from the safety of this bunker. So it's very clean, very nice. There's also a better way to do gates. So instead of having a large gate that you need to open and close every time, you just have it like this. You basically place the door sideways. As you notice, I can't run this way. I have to do a little short hop. so that allows you to go through, but it won't allow any of the bugs. So not even the smallest ones, the drones won't be able to fit through here. It gives you a really clean enfilade because you basically have clean shots without having to use this look over the top of this essentially, and it just gives you a faster entrance rather than having to click use gate. So very clean way to use gates. You can also use this, you can use a small gate instead of a large gate. It'll have the same effect of having this small doorway here. Alright, so tip 8 is pretty simple. We have an electric fence here, and they have more HP than the regular walls, but let's go ahead and put some sort of buffer zone here. That way the electric wall can, last longer without needing repairs. Essentially, the electric fence has a range of about a half tile, so it's able to hit bugs all the way out here, even through these short walls. So by adding these short walls, you're basically just stalling out the bugs, giving your troopers more time to kill them. Or if you set up an MG above the electric fence itself, then the MG will be able to kill the bugs itself. This sentry doesn't do too much damage on veteran, but if you stun the bugs for long enough, then it'll definitely pick up whatever kills you need it to be picked up. So yeah, try it out. Let me know how it goes. Alright, so for tip 9, I want to weigh in on the electric fences debate. There's a big divide in the community about whether or not to use these all around the arc or whether to use them on the exterior of the base. And my opinion is that it depends, 1, on the map and where the choke points are, and 2, what the difficulty of the mission is. So if you're playing on easy or normal, there's no reason you need these around the arc. The bugs are barely ever going to breach, and if they do, you can just push them back pretty easily. On veteran, there's an argument to be made to be putting these around the arc because the exterior walls are almost inevitably going to be breached at some point. But I will say, if you use them correctly, instead of standalone electric fences, if you combine them with a bunker, you're able to easily repair them, and as long as enough people are manning the bunker shouldn't go down either, and it just helps keep the bunker alive, keeps the electric fences alive. So this is a great way to use them on the exterior of your base in an enfilade setup. If you are going to use them on the interior base, I want people to get away from just putting them in a bland square like these walls are set up around the arc, because it's not that powerful. It's hard to defend. Those electric walls aren't going to do that much. So if you are going to use electric fences around the arc, then put them in a fashion along with this, like dedicate one bunker to whatever direction the bugs are going to be coming from. You can inlay a electric fence, use the tip where you basically just have a buffer zone, and then you can easily defend this arc. It'll be like a nice fallback point for when the mission is complete, or if shit hits the fan and all the walls are broken. Now you have people that can all sit around the arc. You've got like these things up here where you can now shoot like over the wall, so you don't have like any awkward angles. You can just see over. You've got towers here. You can even chill on the outside of these towers and kind of shoot down at any of the bugs that are down there. And this is just going to be a lot stronger of a setup around the arc than just the bland 4 electric fence setup. So I tend to use a combination. I would put electric fences on the strongest, like where the bugs are going to be coming from, and then if I have the any extra fences, then I'll put them around the arc. So typically it's a 2 and 2 split, or it's a 3 and 1 split, or a 1 and 3. Any combination, basically. It just depends on where your choke points are. If you know a choke point is going to have a lot of bugs, put the electric fences there. If you lose the fence, then you can just put it back up. It's really quick to repair. It has more HP than a wall, and yeah, it's great to use in a combination with a bunker. Alright, tip 10, let's talk about exterior wall metas. So basically, we want to get away from onion layering. This is how a lot of people build their bases. They basically just sneeze walls into every open slot that they can because they think it's going to slow down the bugs. But really, they're harming themselves more than doing good, because you're just grouping the bugs up. There'll be like a few bugs on this wall by the time they break through. There's more bugs on this wall by the time they break through that one. There's even more bugs on this wall. And when they break through, there's just going to be like 20 or 40 bugs all coming through at the same time. So that's why onion layering is bad. Ideally, you don't need to use any walls at all. You just use your bunkers on choke points. If the bunkers aren't enough, because the choke points are too wide and you need to put walls next to them, then you should be doing a setup such as the one behind me. This is going to be the same amount of walls, but in a much less confusing pattern. You're using the exploit from tip 1, where you're back layering a normal wall and a ramp wall, and then in front of that you're putting an exterior wall of just a normal wall, and it's going to create this really cool platform up here where you can stand on top of. As long as you're minding the gap, you won't fall in, so you can play on top of this, man the wall up here. Or even better, if you set up the base even more correctly, then you have the bunker on the very corner or on the very outside of your base, and then you push the walls inward. So you're not using all the building area. You're pushing the walls inward. That way you have a double enfilade on a corner like this. So you've got one wall, and this wall could extend all the way down to another bunker, and then you have another wall, and this could extend all the way down to another bunker. Obviously, it's going to depend on the map you're on, because you don't always get a clean setup like this, but just try your best. You can play back on top of these walls by just crouching underneath here, getting on top, doing your repairs, whatever. And then that being said, this will complete your exterior setup, and you shouldn't have any more walls in the middle of your base. So you'll have your rendezvous point from tip 9 around your arc, for when mission ends or when shit hits the fan, and then you just have your set of exterior walls. The middle of your base should be completely clear of any debris, any walls. A lot of people think that, oh, there's open space here, I should be putting walls because it's going to slow down the bugs if the exterior get breached, but really you're just slowing yourself down. One, your base gets very, very confusing when you just have walls everywhere, and two, you decrease your sight line, so now I can't see unless I jump all the way to the other side. I don't know what's going on the other side of the gates. There's no visibility over there without scan beacons, so really you should just be avoiding putting any walls in the middle. If you're not a hunter, and you're basically screwed if you do need to run back to the rendezvous point, because now you got to look for a gate or a way to vault up or whatever. Just keep the middle of your base completely open around the arc, besides the arc defenses themselves, and then your exterior walls should be as symmetrical and as least confusing as possible, such as an arrangement like this. All right, and that about wraps up all 10 tips. If you're still here, then you're watching a quick little snippet of a base that I built. It's a double enfilade with a electric fence on the front wall in that map where you have that little like up ramp and down ramp right next to each other. I put a kill funnel on the backside. If you want to know how to put a kill funnel into your base, I've already detailed it in my 10 tips for beginners guide. Give that video a watch. If there's any build styles or build strategies that I didn't cover in this video that you know about, please leave them in the comments below. There's so much to learn about base building, and it's pretty dynamic since the arc can change positions, and obviously the map changes as well. So yeah, if I missed anything, just comment below so we can all learn a little bit. And yeah, that's all I got for you. So have a good rest of your day. Peace out, people.